Available without a prescription, but it is not available in stores. Get your risk-free supply today. Go to crystalflush.com. That's CRYSTAL flush.com. Stop being embarrassed by ugly yellow toenails. Go to crystalflush.com or call 800-204-4484.
WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Imagine all the hits you love in one collection. Live it up with favorites like, I won, did you hear me? I won! Or the timeless treasure, I just won $5,000! And who can forget the all-time classic, Look Who's Going on Vacation! Get your hands on the cash-loaded Hit Instant Games collection at your nearest Tennessee Lottery retailer. And let the good times roll. Only from the Tennessee Lottery. Game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
Make it a happy new year. Become the Powerball First Millionaire of the Year, announced live on Dick Clark's New Year's Rockin' Eve with Ryan Seacrest. Enter to win a VIP trip for two to New York that will include a 3-night stay at a luxurious Times Square hotel, a chance at $1 million, and more. Enter any Powerball ticket at tnviprewards.com by October 31st. From the Tennessee Lottery, game-changing fun. Please play responsibly.
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare Studios.
Just a bit outside.
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Alrighty then.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
And a good Friday to you, and yes, it is time for the McFarland Show here on WNSR. Darren and Justin here with you. We are the McFarlands. Damon Keene is alongside for the ride for the next 2 hours, as I just said, so I'll just keep saying it. We're here till 4 o'clock today. We're excited. We could probably be here till 10 o'clock tonight. We won't do that.
No, we're not going to do that.
But we could do it.
Maybe.
If we wanted to.
Maybe you could. I've been up a little longer than you have.
A really
so I don't know if I'm going to make it.
I shouldn't rope you into that category.
Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to make it to 10.
Maybe 6. How about 6?
I could do 6.
Right?
Yeah,
6.
I can do 6.
It's just one of those shows. It's loaded. We got lots to talk about, so let's get after it. By the way, Michael Lombardi, former GM in the NFL, will join us in about 10 minutes. So we'll have Michael Lombardi on, and we'll talk a little football with him at 3 o'clock. Mike Haas, he is the Saints play-by-play guy. He will join us, and we'll learn a little bit more about this first opponent for the Titans on Sunday afternoon. Last night, our first NFL game of the season, Kansas City, the defending Super Bowl champs, hosting the Detroit Lions, or as intern Alex said yesterday on the program, the Motor City Kitties.
There you go.
And I gave a little gift.
Yes, you did.
At the end of the show yesterday.
Go ahead and dance.
I said, if you want to make some money, this is free. You don't owe me anything. Take it, enjoy it, spend it how you like it. Go put your hard-earned money on Detroit last night. Take the points, sit back, relax, and enjoy the first game of the season. And, folks, that was a winner. I hope you enjoyed it. Because I did.
Bing.
I did. I enjoyed it. Plus 4.5. I'll take those 4.5, and I'll take that money and put it in the bank.
Well,
and the Lions, Justin,
yes, they did.
1-0.
Hey, how about that?
They're 1-0 on the season.
How about that?
After we made our predictions yesterday.
That's fantastic. Good for the Lions. Get to 1-0 there.
The Bears are already behind the Lions in the division.
Hey, the Bears are on the clock already. A great game last night. I will say this. I would applaud Dan Campbell for this. And I always love coaches who do this. I like coaches who play, as Herman Edwards say, to win the game. Dan Campbell played at all times last night to win the game, at all times. He did not sit in fear of Patrick Mahomes, and he decided that the gutsy calls, and they're really not gutsy, and to me, they make a lot of sense, because Patrick Mahomes is a killer. He is. So why put him in position where he's going to kill you if you can try to get him first? And now he tried. Now, it didn't always work out, but he tried. He tried real hard. He tried to ice the game last night with 2 minutes to go and just didn't do it. And they gave the ball back to Patrick Mahomes anyway, and it didn't work out for him.
Yeah.
But I love that he actually tried to take the sword right out of Patrick Mahomes' hand. And so if we get this first down, we don't have to worry about it. We don't have to. We got one play. If we can just get this one play, then we can go home. We can take a knee, and we don't have to have these last-minute heroics and all this other stuff. We don't have to go through it. Now, he didn't get it.
Raise your hand if you thought, of course. They didn't get it. They could ice the game, like you said.
Yeah.
One play to win the game, and it's like, you know what's going to happen, right? Casey's going to march down the field. Harris Butker, 38-yard field goal.
Yeah.
Right down the middle. Chiefs win by 2.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, that's
they
the way
escape.
it's been.
I mean, it was like, I wasn't worried about it because that's fine. I'm
Sure.
still a winner. Plus
Sure.
4.5. I'm okay with that.
There you go.
Obviously, they could have still scored a touchdown. But I was like,
Unlikely.
I don't really see it.
Unlikely
Yeah.
with this bunch.
By the way, Kadarius Toney, if they had other options, they'd probably cut him today. He sucked. Man, Kadarius Toney, wow. Now we know why the Giants traded you to Kansas City. Man, have a night or not have a night. My goodness.
The only thing Patrick Mahomes couldn't do
He might want to invest in some stickum.
is catch his own passes. I mean, he led the team in passing, obviously. He was the only guy throwing the ball. He led the team in rushing, which is a problem. But the only thing he couldn't do was lead the team in receiving, even though I'm sure if he could find a way to do so, he would. But he just couldn't. There was multiple. And listen, Detroit played a well of a game. So I'm not trying to say, the Detroit, just as the recipient of this. Detroit played very well and are deserving to be here at 1-0 after the win. But Kansas City just could not, make a play to save themselves outside of Patrick Mahomes. And if you're wondering what the difference is or what the value is of Kelsey and the value of Jones on the other side, it saw it last night because there's in a one-point game, there is nobody, not intern Alex, not Dan Campbell, not anybody who's going to be able to convince me that one or both of those guys are not a one-point swing last night. Yes,
Justin,
they are.
Wednesday,
yes, they are.
We did our top 10, and who did I have at number 2?
Yes.
Kansas City.
Yeah.
Why?
Because they're not fully healthy.
Because they don't because
whatever.
I didn't believe Chris Jones and Travis Kelce were going to play in week 1. And I said, I can't in good conscience and good faith, if I don't believe they're going to play, put them number 1 to start off the season because it is going to affect them. And by the way, if they continue not to play, it's going to affect Kansas City.
Yeah.
This just in.
Yeah.
And by the way, Chris Jones, privately, very, very privately, probably has a little bit of a Cheshire smile to him. I mean, honestly. Privately, he's never going to admit it. He's never going to show it. But look, we talked about, we gave the great example. You threw it out there, and I said, yep. And I said, what happened in those 2 games? The best example, and I know this is dating it, but
it is.
Emmitt
It's true.
Emmitt Smith a long time ago held out, and the Dallas Cowboys started off 0-2. And all of a sudden, the next thing you know, Emmitt Smith got his big fat contract, and he was back there running the football for the Cowboys, and they won the Super Bowl. I suspect the Bosa contract and them losing the first game, and heaven forbid if Kelsey isn't available in week 2 and they lose again, I don't even know who they play yet. I didn't look. Who's Kansas City up next? If they start off 0-2, you're probably going to see a new Chris Jones contract.
Probably so, because they can't keep going like this. Because whoever else is out there, you think there's a little extra juice in the wagon for the Denver Broncos and for the Los Angeles Chargers going into their game, and the Raiders. You think all those teams have a little extra juice in the battery after that? Next week, by the way, the Kansas City Chiefs will be on the road they will head down to the southern East Coast as they would take on the Jacksonville Jaguars.
Ooh.
That is
interesting.
That is next Sunday.
Your AFC South champ.
Yes. And that is my predicted, yes.
Wow. You inspired Damon, by the way. He wore his Titans gear today. He doesn't have a Damon Titans jersey, but you did inspire him, I think, yesterday with your 17 jersey. Damon decked out in Titans gear today.
Thank you, Damon. I appreciate your help, man. Thank you so much. So, Darren, I want you to listen to this, and we're going to have a little chuckle here. And I know we got to get to Mike Lombardi, and I appreciate it. Emmitt Smith, this is dated September the 17th, 1993, okay? Dallas Cowboys running back Emmitt Smith, who held out in an attempt to become the highest paid player in his position in the NFL, got his wish on Thursday, signing a 4-year contract. The worth, $13.6 million.
You know what I was going to say? $8 million.
13.
Because that was 30 years ago.
Yeah.
So I was going to say 4 years, $8 million.
It will pay Emmitt Smith $7 million in his first year with a $4 million signing bonus. Then after that, he got $3 million a year.
Yeah.
Just you know.
Yeah. That's a little bit more than I thought, but I knew it was going to be low.
And by the way, future NFL all-time leading rusher there.
Yeah. All right, we'll break. We'll come back. Michael Lombardi, former NFL GM. We'll talk about his new book. We'll talk about football with him. We'll do it next here on the McFarland Show, Nashville Sports Radio.
With 13 locations nationally, including Smyrna, Star Leasing Company is a semi-trailer one-stop shop and the perfect place to build a career as a semi-trailer mechanic. Seeking candidates with all levels of experience, Star Leasing Company has a semi-trailer technician trainee program with sign-on and quarterly bonuses and other opportunities such as $1,000 for having a yearly physical. The package also includes 401k with company match, health, dental, and vision insurance, competitive pay with weekly paychecks, and paid holidays and time off. Star Leasing Company, not your typical semi-trailer leasing company. Visit starleasing.com to learn more.
Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
Hey, Nashville, join me, Jonathan Schaefer, and Joe Fisher each Friday night for the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week. Last week, we broadcasted BGA versus Nashville Christian. BGA defeated Nashville Christian 38-21, and their quarterback, Hayden Maribel, was awarded the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Player of the Week, presented by Jackson Boone Racing. This Friday night, our Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week is East Nashville Magnet versus Maplewood. Our coverage of high school football will begin at 6:15 with Murphy Fair's Matchups High School Football Preview Show. Joe Fisher and myself will go live from Maplewood starting at 6:45. It's East Nashville Magnet versus Maplewood for the Mid-State Checkdown High School Football Game of the Week. Powered by Jody Jones Dentistry, exclusively on WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Still on his feet to the 10, to the 5. Oh my goodness, he scored a touchdown!
In a single moment, everything can change. When a player's sudden cardiac event brought a national football game to a halt, it shone a spotlight on the importance of CPR readiness. Now, with youth sports in full swing, the American Heart Association is rallying parents and coaches to be ready in an emergency. To be ready, learn hands-only CPR. It's a skill anyone can learn in minutes. Visit heart.org/hands-only-CPR and become a lifesaver today.
The Jim Rome Show.
I get a lot of vacation. I understand that. However, I don't take a lot of sick days. These things are not one and the same. That was not like I worked 8 straight days or I worked Super Bowl Sunday. I think I'll give myself a day off. I earned it. Hey, and by the way, I could, because I have those days. I pride myself in not taking sick days. I hate that. We usually grind through it. But honestly, it was the right thing. In that case, it was the right thing.
The Jim Rome Show. Weekdays 11 to 2 on Nashville's Sports Radio.
Give us a call, 615-844-5600. The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Rolling along here on this Friday afternoon. By the way, you can watch the show every day on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. Our next guest, former general manager and three-time Super Bowl winning executive, spent 35 years working with the Patriots, the 49ers, the Raiders, and the Cleveland Browns. His book is Football Done Right, setting the record straight on coaches, players, and the history of the NFL. And he is Michael Lombardi, and he now joins us on the program. Michael, how we doing? Thanks for doing this.
Thank you for having me. We're doing great. Thank you so much.
You are the perfect one to ask. We were literally just talking about this week on the show. We brought it up again in the first segment of the show. And since this is kind of like talking about the history of the league, we've been harping on an example 30 years ago, and I'm sure there have been others. But Chris Jones, is basically holding out for the Chiefs. He wants a new contract. He wants to get paid. The Chiefs fell last night to the Lions. And we stated the example of when Emmitt Smith did it in 1993, and the Cowboys started off 0-2, and the next thing you know, he was in the fold with a new contract, and away goes the Dallas Cowboys, and they ended up winning the Super Bowl. Can you think of other examples? And how do you think this Chris Jones scenario, since you've been general manager, how do you think this Chris Jones scenario is going to play out in KC?
Well, I don't think last night really was. I mean, they held a really good Detroit Lions offensive team to 14 points. They did, Chris Jones is one of the best players in the league. I'm not going to dispute that. 15 and a half sacks, 49 quarterback hits last year. He was the best defensive tackle in all of football. He deserves a raise. No one's questioning that. But last night was more about missing Travis Kelce than anything.
Yeah.
The Emmitt Smith thing was a different league. The league then, we didn't have all the information on contracts. We didn't have a salary cap. All that didn't really manifest itself into it. This one's a challenge because, Travis Kelce's the fourth highest paid tight end, and he really isn't a tight end. He's a legitimate big-time receiver. And so he makes $14 million a year, well below any wide receiver and below three other tight ends. Darren Waller makes $17 million a year. He makes $3 million more than Kelce. So when you turn around and pay Jones, how do you not take care of Kelce? There's a domino effect to all of this, right? Because you are part of a team. You are part of a team, and you have to be cognizant of the team. So it's really, I don't envy Brett Veach, the general manager. It's a hard thing to do. Jones needs to get paid. They need him. They need Kelce too, so they might have to do them both.
Yeah, and, just a couple days ago, Nick Bosa gets a record-breaking deal, too. Highest-paid player on defense in San Francisco. And, of course, you could probably relate to this over the years. When you're trying to hold tight, you got two sides, they got their stances. And then, a guy basically same type of position, but a guy that gets a contract like that, you just know that Chris Jones in his camp is giving the side stare like, okay, now where's ours? Because, that stuff happens all the time, right? The new deal happens, and you're trying to compare your guy to that guy, and, you got to hear from the agent the next day. You probably can relate.
Sure. It's hard. And in a cap, you have to make concrete decisions. You've got to say, we favor player A over player B, and we're going to pay that player. But, it's still a challenge, and you have to be aware of your team and aware of your cap. And you've got to be aware of what the implications are. And you've got to reward those who have rewarded you. Now, in this case, and Mahomes, look, Mahomes isn't high. Joe Burrow just basically earns $10 million more a year than Mahomes. So something's going to change on that. That's Brady spent his whole life at the Patriots as not the highest paid quarterback because he did it for the good of the team. I think that's the hard part.
Does the league today allow you, Michael, to have the dynasties in the decades? Obviously the Patriots isn't that long ago, but, other organizations you've worked for, 49ers, they had their runs in their decades, the Cowboys, and, Steelers. We can go on and on. Everybody knows the runs of teams and when they dominated a decade. The Patriots run. Can we ever see that again in this new NFL? And like you said, this salary cap?
Well, we just witnessed it with the Patriots. I mean, they won 6 of it, and it was all in the cap era.
Yeah.
So it's doable.
But can anybody else do it?
Yeah, it's hard, right? It's really hard. And I think it's going to take some time. I mean, it takes the right chemistry, the right culture. It's a challenge. And, the Chiefs decided to move on from Tyreek Hill because they couldn't pay him. And now, Tyreek Hill, they miss him. They really miss him badly. So it's hard. It's really, you got to draft really well. You can't miss on any of your draft picks. And the problem is, it's a front-end loaded system. You're picking 32. Last year the Patriots picked 14th. They traded down. That's the highest they picked in the draft since 2000. Think about that. The Niners, people misconstrue. The Niners had these years where they were horrible. And they got Joey Bosa. Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt, and they ended up with Joey Bosa. With Nick Bosa, I'm sorry. They had the second pick in the draft. So, and when Kyle went there, he had the third pick over. He had the second pick in the draft. So they've picked in the top 5. They've had some bottom-out seasons. The Patriots, the Chiefs, they don't have that.
Michael, I want to ask you about the approach you take when you ask a player for a pay cut. It happened, with us here in Tennessee earlier this year, obviously with the Kevin Byard situation, and we have debated, Darren and I disagree about it slightly, but I wanted to ask, as somebody who's probably done it, how does that process go? How is it received? Obviously, you're talking probably to the agent and not the player itself or themselves. Talk to me about that process, and how do you determine who to ask?
Well, I think it's all about everything. When you work in the NFL, you're like a bank appraiser. That's really what your job is. You're giving money out, and the player has to play to the value of the contract. And just like what we're seeing with Chris Jones, and we see it with Patrick Mahomes, and we see it with Travis Kelce, sometimes they overplay the value, and you got to go back and adjust that. And so you're always trying to do that, and I think it's challenging. And a lot of it comes down to leverage, right? A lot of it comes down to, look, we want you back on the team. We need some cap relief. We think we could take this down. If you feel like you can get more money on the open market, then we're going to have to release you. But I think this is going to be the best deal you're going to get. And that's the conversation. You can't make it, we don't want you. You got to make it about, look, here's the value of where the market is, and we feel like we need to adjust your deal based on that. Byard is a really good player. I mean, he's a really good player. And I think, obviously they wanted to keep him, and they did, and they were able to work their way through it. This is the business. I mean, the fact that Chris Jones was at the game last night tells you that, we can do this, right? We can do this without having to have it be a hostile environment.
Michael, I wanted to ask you as well about how do teams miss on quarterbacks so badly at times? How does Mitch Trubisky, no disrespect against him, get drafted before the likes of Patrick Mahomes and others there? How do the 49ers trade 3 number 1s and a 3rd just to end up with a 7th round, the last pick in the draft, being the starter, which, by the way, his backup was the number 3 overall pick in one particular draft? How does this happen when there's so much study, so many scouts, so much information? You talk to the third-grade teachers, and this still happens.
Well, it takes talent to evaluate talent. And as Bill Walsh told me in 1984, very few people can evaluate the quarterback, and even fewer can coach him. I think it really comes down to that. And you end up seeing things. Let's take Mitchell Trubisky, for example.
Yes, sir.
I was not a Mitchell Trubisky fan. Why wasn't I? Because I learned from Coach Walsh. Don't take the one-year player and look forward. Take the one-year player and look back. Why was Mitchell Trubisky sitting on the bench for 3 years? Because he got beat out. Why did he go from mentor of the Lakes in Ohio and not to Ohio State when he was the best player in the state of Ohio and was Mr. Ohio? Because Ohio State wanted to play free safety, not quarterback. Why did Trey Lance go from Minneapolis, Minnesota, and have to play at North Dakota? Because the University of Minnesota didn't think he could play quarterback. And so what happens is we have such a desperate appetite for quarterbacking, we invent players. We try to make it, we try to make it this guy. I mean, they did it with Malik Willis last year. He's the top 10 pick, right? Well, Malik Willis left Auburn, didn't play, had to go to Liberty, and he ran an offense that's not a pro-style offense. And he's getting better, but is he ever going to be a starter? Is he ever going to be, as some of the guys at the Worldwide Network thought he was, a top 10 pick? I don't see it. It's going to take time. Same thing with Will Levis. I mean, Will Levis had at high school. He had a hard time playing. Went to Penn State, didn't beat out Sean Clifford. Transferred to Kentucky. Like, the past tells you about the present, and if you constantly make excuses on what happened in the past, then it's wrong. Tom Brady went to Michigan, and everybody would tell you about Tom Brady at Michigan that he should have played, but they had a bias towards Drew Henson. Joe Montana went to Notre Dame, and Dan Devine didn't want to play him, and he didn't play him until he needed him. And then when he played great. The story, you got to put the story together. And so often in quarterbacking, we just look at the numbers. Oh, this guy's got a great arm, or this guy can do that, when instinctively he doesn't play the position well.
Man, I'm sorry. He dumped a
I was
load
saying my mind is racing now of examples.
I need a few seconds now. Okay, I'm sorry. Mr. Lombardi, let's move forward.
No,
sir,
Michael. Call me Michael.
Michael?
Mr. Lombardi's down the street.
Yes, sir. Michael, I need to move forward before I lose my mind here. Okay, so the Tennessee Titans, sir, is the team that we follow here exclusively here for Nashville. Darren and I have covered the team for a very long time. We have seen, and I'm just going to read off the first-round picks for this football team since 2017, okay? Corey Davis, Adoree Jackson, Rashaan Evans, Jeffrey Simmons, Isaiah Wilson, Caleb Farley, Treylon Burks. Currently, this football team, sir, is only getting actual play from two of those players. Caleb Farley has been hurt the majority of the time that he's been here. Treylon Burks is on the team. He is playing. Hopefully they're hoping for a healthy season out of him. Jeffrey Simmons obviously is a monster. The other guys are either no longer on the team or out of the NFL. And these are the first round picks. Talk to me about the value. Do we overvalue first round picks because we spent a lot of time on them? So are they really as important as the foundation of your football team as they're made out to be?
Yeah, I think that's why John Robinson isn't your general manager anymore. That list you just read, you can't miss with it. You can't miss with it. You got to hit with it. And it's hard sometimes picking down there. And you can't miss when you're picking high. You can't pick Corey Davis at the top of the draft when, he struggled to separate from people in Western Michigan. It's like, are we going to draft it? We have to draft what you can't afford on the open market, right? And, you can find receivers. You can't find left tackles. You can't find right tackles. You can't find defensive tackles or defensive ends. So you got to hit. And, that's one of the things that kill all of us. We've all made mistakes about in the draft. We've all blown it. And sometimes it's because the draft isn't very good. There's not a lot of good players around them. And sometimes it's just because you try to invent players that are not really there.
You got a good man to do your forward, sir, on your book, Jim Nantz. He lives in Nashville.
Greatest.
So.
He's a Nashville. Yeah. There's no one nicer. I tell people this all the time. They don't understand that as nice as he appears on television, he's nicer in person. And that's sincere.
Yeah, no doubt. Hey, good luck with the book. Thanks for doing this. We could have done a lot longer, but you got other people to talk to. Thanks for doing it. Let's do it again down the road.
Thank you, sir.
Anytime. Thank you.
All right, Michael Lombardi. The book is Football Done Right, Setting the Record Straight on the Coaches, Players, and the History of the NFL. He was a 3-time Super Bowl winning executive and strategist. My mind is racing
mine too.
On your question of guys that basically burst onto the scene, I guess is one way to put it. Maybe others valued them at another position. A lot of people said you probably shouldn't play that position, or really just the kind of the one-hit wonder. Why did it take till then? The only pushback I think probably you would hear from people if we brought on other executives or scouts or whatever.
Well, Dan,
coaches.
you and I could have done it if we had more time. I mean, it's
some people are late bloomers, right? Everybody has different stages, and sometimes people just develop differently.
Yeah.
And for whatever reason, the light bulb comes on. Now, most of the time, I think his examples are probably true. Like, it is what it is. You're trying to cram the square peg into the round hole, and it's not going to fit, right? You're trying to make them into something they're really not.
Yeah.
You're building them up when they're really down here, and you're trying to push them up here.
Inventing a player that isn't there.
Right. You're inventing something that really isn't reality. There was a lot of interesting stuff in there. Some of it is easier to say. Now, I believe it is it's an inexact science.
It is.
You really don't know. You think you know, but you really don't know. I've told this story many times on here. My little fishbowl. I can look at kids and, play against them, know about them, watch them over the years. But until they're with you and you see them every day, you truly don't know what you have.
Yeah.
Right? Like you think you know.
Yeah.
You may have a good idea of what you're going to have, but until they get there, you really don't know.
Yeah.
It's very hard. And that's a small fishbowl. But on the grand scheme of things of what we were talking about with Michael Lombardi, it's really the same concept. Like, you can watch all the tape. You can talk to a lot. Really, it's about talking to the right people. It really is.
Yeah.
Because if you talk to the right people and the people that do understand it and have a good feel for talent evaluators, then, you can steer clear of the big misses.
Yeah. If you are diligent in what you're looking at and you're asking the right questions. And what he said about it taking talented people to identify talent is massive. And that's why I couldn't even hold myself in when he said it, because it was like, well, they seem talented, but think about who's doing the evaluation here and how talented are they? What do they see? Darren, as I sit here in this chair, I will never, ever, ever understand, ever, in any universe, how anyone thought that Mitchell Trubisky was better than Deshaun Watson. Now, Patrick Mahomes is forgivable. A lot of people didn't know about Patrick Mahomes. He played down there at Texas Tech. Maybe you saw him, maybe you didn't. If it's your business to see him, you saw him. He put up a lot of yards down there, but as we talked about,
Kansas City knew. Because they traded up to get it.
True. But as we talked about, they don't play a lot of defense in this conference. Is he a product of the system? Is he a product of the conference? What is he exactly? Okay, I can understand taking a pass on Patrick Mahomes. I really can, even with the arm talent. Deshaun Watson, we watched Deshaun Watson at Clemson exceed on the highest level possible in the national championship game against Alabama as a multi-year starter. And still, someone thought Mitchell Trubisky was the better quarterback. That I cannot understand for anything. However, what he is saying, Mr. Michael Lombardi, makes a lot of sense now. Well, it depends on who the beauty's in the eye of the beholder. Who is beholding? Who is looking at this? And the person looking at this, and we know this to be true, the NFL GM or the organizations, whomever, have a lot of power. If they decide VY is my guy, that's it. If they decide Mitchell Trubisky is where we're going and we're leaning in that direction, then that's where we're going. And so it doesn't matter. You can show me everything you want. You can tell me this guy played the national championship game. He did that. Listen, that's my guy. He doesn't have this. I like his moxie. I like his look. I like his background. Whatever it is. And then all of a sudden you end up that way. And I just find it very interesting that the ultimate person that you got to figure out is not necessarily the quarterback or the running back or the offensive tackle, but the real talent is the person who can identify those right pieces and put them together. That part of this is, I think, underrated because we spend so much time talking about players.
I think another indicator, at least for me, it's hard because the water's really muddy these days with the transfer portal.
Yeah.
But to me, it does tell a little bit. And by the way, you can go back further. If you find history of jumping around, there's a reason. There's a red flag in there somewhere. There's a reason why that happens. I mean, again, going back to my little small fishbowl, I think a kid's really talented. But I look at his roster history and I see he's been playing for like a different team like every season or every other season. It's like, why has he hopped around so much?
Mm-hmm.
And the red flag may not be the kid, it may be the parents, right? But either way, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Either way, it's a red flag.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
It's something you probably are going to regret or want to stay clear of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Steer clear of.
Steer clear. Yes. Calling out the draft picks of the Titans over the past 6 years, and his talk about Corey Davis, who's now retired and out of the National Football League. Corey Davis was the number 5 overall pick, Darren. Is that right?
Yes.
And Michael Lombardi just told us he couldn't separate from receivers in the MAC. And he ended up a National Football League team picked him number 5 overall in the draft.
First at his position.
And it's tough. I know it's hard. And we can sit here and go through example after example till the cows come home about guys who didn't make it. And by the way, there are plenty of guys who didn't go the route Mr. Lombardi was talking about who have succeeded in the NFL.
Of course, there's
at
other
quarterback
examples.
and at running back and at every position
100%.
available who weren't great players wherever they were and then burst onto the scene in the NFL.
Mm-hmm.
Happens all the time. It happens every year. But I think his point is the vast majority of the successful people in the NFL you'll find were huge successes wherever they were before this. So it wasn't just a one-off situation, then they got into the NFL and they blew up. No. If you look back, chances are you're going to find great examples of them succeeding wherever they were before they got here.
All right, we'll come back. We're wide open this hour. Good stuff from Michael Lombardi. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. We can take your phone calls and your text messages. More of the McFarland Show rolling along here on this Friday. WNSR.
People's Painting Plus is on the air saluting the brave men and women of our U.S. military. Visit DAV.org to see how you can donate to our disabled veterans and make a difference today. This message is brought to you by People's Painting Plus, serving Middle Tennessee with quality and pride backed by over 15 years of experience. For the best in residential and commercial interior and exterior painting, call the professionals today at 615-852-1526. That's 615-852-1526. People's Painting Plus. They're professionals who care.
Post-COVID travel is on a surge. Many of you are traveling for fun because you've been locked up for 2 years. Listen, whether you're traveling for fun to Italy, Greece, Spain, France, or somewhere else fun in the world, or USA, now is a great time to book before the crowds hit and save. Plus, with a strong U.S. dollar, you'll get more travel bang for your buck. Right now is a smart time to make your reservations and call low-cost airlines. With one phone call, you can let us do all the work for free. We'll shop hundreds of airlines, hotels, resorts, and give you a way to save huge money on your vacation plans. And if you call right now, we'll give you a free hotel room with a qualified travel purchase. So call right now.
800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. That's 800-704-1662.
Located at 5410 Murfreesboro Road in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers is one-stop shopping for all your liquor, beer, and wine needs and has been a multiple winner annually in the Best of Rutherford County voting for Best Liquor Store and Top Wine Shop. Featuring the lowest prices, the best customer service with unsurpassed knowledge, City Slickers offers the largest craft beer selection in Rutherford and southeastern Davidson counties and has beer on tap at its Growler filling station. City Slickers also sells mixers, sodas, snacks, tobacco products, and the Tennessee Lottery, and can place special orders and assist with all your events and even wedding planning. Make sure you follow City Slickers on all their social media or just give them a call at 615-280-7469. That's 615-280-7469. Located in the heart of Laverne, City Slickers.
The 2023 Atlanta Braves are back, and with a loaded roster of young talent and some new faces in the A, it's going to be another wild season.
First pitch is drilled to center field, spreading in here as he dives, and Michael's got it.
Catch the 2023 Atlanta Braves right here on Music City's home for Braves baseball. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
Five-state forecast. Your exclusive National Sports Radio, WNSR Sky Scan forecast. Today's going to be sunny with a high of 84. Partly cloudy tonight, low 62. Sunshine Saturday and Sunday, high each day this weekend, 84. Sunshine Monday, high 86. Utilizing the resources of the Weatherbug Network on National Sports Radio, I'm WNSR's meteorologist, Jim Rinaldi.
Sports Radio, WNSR.
Welcome back to the Strike and Spare Studios. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
The 34th Southern Heritage Classic will be at the Liberty Bowl in Memphis, Tennessee. TSU and Arkansas Pine Bluff. Tomorrow, the pregame coverage will start at 5:30. Kickoff will be at 6 o'clock. Be to Greg Pogue and Chris Sanders on the call.
Very cool.
Keep that in mind tomorrow. So 5:30 is when the coverage begins. 6 o'clock kickoff. 615-844-5600. It's like you guys want to talk today. Got loaded lines. Let's start things off with Eric. Eric, you're up first. Welcome in.
Hey, guys. Darren, I certainly remember that Emmitt Smith contract holdout situation because, of course, first game they lost on Monday Night Football to Washington. Then the following Sunday they lost at home to Buffalo Bills. Then they signed Emmitt. But do you remember something else that happened during that season?
1993.
You got to give more of a clue than that.
Yeah,
a lot of things happened in 93.
That's pretty wide open. Yeah, I don't know.
Okay, Thanksgiving Day.
Nate Newton?
No, Leon Lett.
Leon Lett. Yes,
Leon that's right. That was the game where Dallas should have won the game. They were up 14-13. Leon Lett touched the ball. Miami got another kick and won the ball game. But also after that game, Dallas didn't lose another game, and Miami did not win another game after that.
That is true. I don't know why I said Nate Newton, but yes, Leon Lett. Yes, we all remember that.
No, Leon, no.
And here's the thing that was bad about that for me, Thanksgiving Day. And in a way, I'm kind of glad it happened to be that game. I was fine the first half, but I was real sick the second half of the football game. Not because of what was going on, but I just was not feeling well, so I could not react. And I'm kind of glad because had I seen that live, I would have reacted more emotionally if I was not feeling well. I was not feeling well and just couldn't react. I would just sit there with a kind of just blank stare on my face because I was sick. I was at a relative's house Thanksgiving Day watching the game. So, but anyway, couple of things and then I'll get off. I want to talk a little college football, guys. I'm not saying it'll definitely happen, but I would not be shocked if Nebraska beats Colorado this Saturday. Because everybody's patting Deion Sanders on the back, and you know about the point spread. Nebraska before the game was like a 7.5-point favorite, but then when Colorado won, now Colorado's a 3-point favorite. That's a 10-point swing. I still think that Colorado will probably win the game, but I think it's going to be a great game.
You want to hear a great little stat? Listen to this.
Yeah.
So the most bet football game of 2023 so far is what? I think we all know, right? It was last night because it started the NFL season.
Yeah, NFL.
Right?
Yeah.
That's most money, most bet was last night. Do you know what was second?
Colorado, TCU?
No, Colorado, Nebraska.
Oh, Colorado, Nebraska.
Colorado, Nebraska has more money bet on it right now in Vegas than the rest of the NFL games.
Wow.
How about that?
Wow.
That blew me away. I saw that on Twitter this morning.
Well, if they do win, which I do think Colorado will win, but I would say this, I would not be shocked if Nebraska wins. They probably will be 3-0 because they play Colorado State next. But then they play both Oregon and USC right back-to-back after that. So last year's Pac-12, so it's just going to be interesting to see what happens. But definitely a lot of luster will come off with Deion Sanders and the Colorado team if they get beaten by Nebraska, which that would not shock me if that happens because I think it's going to be a tremendous game, but we'll see what happens. But as far as the NFL guys, a few things I think will happen. First of all, I think the 49ers are going to get upset by the Steelers on Sunday. I also think Cleveland is going to beat Cincinnati on Sunday. And I think 3 other games are going to be tremendous games. I think Philadelphia, New England will be a tremendous game. I still think the Eagles going to win, but I think that's going to go down to the gun because if I'm not mistaken, isn't that the game that's supposed to have a special ceremony for Tom Brady?
Which game?
The Philadelphia-New England game.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I thought they were supposed to have a ceremony for Tom Brady at halftime of that game, but we'll see. And also, it would not surprise me, too, if the two New York teams, the Giants and on Sunday night against Dallas and the Jets on Monday night beat Buffalo because of 9/11 and everything. I would not be surprised. I think if Saquon Barkley has a shot to have a big game, even though defensively Cowboys pretty much shut down, but Brian Daboll is just a tremendous coach to come up with something, and I'm not too sold on Mike McCarthy, especially with the firing of Kellen Moore, but we'll see what happens in both those games. And also Kansas City, a week from Sunday, if they're not careful, they could be 0-2. They play at Jacksonville a week from Sunday, so that's going to be a big game for them. Guys, I'll get off and let you get some other callers. Y'all take care, and we'll talk to you soon.
Have a great weekend. 615-844-5600. I will comment on both of those games he just threw out there, but we've got more phone calls to get to. I've got strong feelings about the Giants-Cowboys game and the Jets-Bills.
All right.
Speaking of that and gambling, our man Michigan is on the line with us. Michigan, what's
up?
Guys,
I know I said yesterday I wasn't.
I was going to say Michigan. Hold up, man. You said. Okay, but go ahead, man.
I said I wouldn't be able to call in today. But in the words of the great Hispanic wrestling legend Eddie Guerrero, I lied. I am so uncomfortable today walking around the streets of Murfreesboro, draped head to toe in Honolulu blue. I have had no less than 12 people honk, roll down their windows, and say, "Looking good." I was like, "Is this what it feels like to walk past a construction site if you're decently looking?" I don't understand what's happening. Last night was amazing. Now, I've watched enough NFL football, and you guys have as well, that there's seasons inside of the season,
yes,
right?
Sir.
We have 17 games now, right? It's basically like 3 quarters, right? So things could still go horribly for your boy Michigan and all the people that love the Honolulu Blue. There's still plenty of time for that to happen, and I've certainly had enough that I know what that could look like. But last night was a great start. I loved it. I don't want to hear anything from Chiefs fans about who you didn't have. You play the team that's on the field, period. End of discussion. I don't care. I don't like I don't want to make fun of sports media because you guys are in sports media and I like you. But there's a thing now with the sports media content slot machine, right? Where we're gonna pull the handle and we're gonna vomit out a bunch of, oh, this has an asterisk. Oh, well, did it really mean anything? And there's 19 hours of programming on every TV channel that centers around sports, where they're going to talk about what all this stuff means, and we're going to forget about it in 20 minutes, which is why none of it has any value. I want to know, first of all, I'm very concerned that I have a parlay ticket this weekend that has both the Cleveland Browns and the Pittsburgh Steelers to win outright. I am very concerned now that I've heard Eric say that. There's something I want to mention about the Cleveland game, and then I'm going to run because I know, Darren, you wanted to respond to those games. Of all of the player movement that happened in the offseason, the one that I think went most under the radar, and I've been thinking about this all day, was Cleveland picking up Zadarius Smith on that defensive line to go opposite Myles Garrett. I'm very familiar with Mr. Zadarius Smith, as he spent many years not only in Green Bay, but I think he was in Minnesota last year. That is a very, very sneaky transaction, and there's some interest for me in Cleveland's potential this year. Every year there's a team that kind of comes out of nowhere, and then we look backwards at the roster and kind of stare at the pieces and go, well, how didn't we see that this team was going to be better? I don't want to talk about the quarterback because I just don't want to talk about the quarterback. I'm not going to do it. But if a lot of things go right for Cleveland, right, if some things break their way, that defense is ready to win, and they could make a lot of noise in a conference that I think is a little bit more wide open than it's being given credit for. I'm going to run. I hope you guys have a great weekend. I bet a lot for Middle to beat Missouri outright. I don't recommend that any of you do that, but I didn't do it last year against Miami. I had it in the queue, and I deleted it 5 minutes before kickoff, and I've been kicking myself for a year. The last time we went to Columbia was in 2016, and I will remind you, we won that game. with Mr. Brent Stockstill at quarterback. So everybody have a great weekend. That's your take from Michigan.
Thank you, Michigan. Soak it in, man. Soak in last night.
Eat that up.
Eat it up. Yum, yum, yum. Motor City Kitties.
Get you a big spoon.
Let's slide Dale in here quickly before we take our final break. Dale, what's up?
Hey, yes, thank you. Justin, I want to thank you and your companion on the news this morning for mentioning the Nashville Predators tournament.
Oh, sure, absolutely. Very interesting fishing tournament. Yes, sir.
Yes, but let me give you a little more information.
All right.
Those guys are going to blast off at 0600 on Saturday morning at Chutes Branch.
Okay.
They will trailer out about 1 o'clock, and the weigh-in will be at your Bass Pro Shop at Opry Mills at 3 o'clock.
Okay. See what they catch out
Grab
there.
a hat.
Yes.
The trucker hats.
But
yes.
But it should be a really fun tournament. Of course, all the proceeds go into the Predators Foundation, and I think they'll have a great time, and I think the weather's going to be good too. And very quickly, Darren, I think you told a bit of a fib the other day. The Tennessee Titans have given you something over the last 23 plus years.
What's that?
Heartburn and heartbreak.
I just wanted to hear the punchline. I didn't know where you were going with it, but that is true. That is true. Yeah.
Okay, guys. Have a good weekend.
Thank you, Bill. Have a great weekend. I knew it was a good setup.
Well, he's right.
I just didn't know where he was going to go with it.
That is something.
It is something.
That is the
true.
noun.
But they
that
didn't
is
actually,
a person, place, or thing.
Yeah, right. It's not a gift. It's not right. It's not a physical object, but they have given that.
Yeah,
yes.
it's a noun.
Probably the one that probably clogged up my arteries was the last playoff game against Cincinnati. That was brutal.
Yeah.
Because, by the way, gambling was legal in the state.
Yes.
By then.
Yes.
And that was a shirtless night.
He did
for
some
me.
things. Yeah.
It was a shirtless night.
Yeah. So I'm not.
It wasn't
allowed
a
to
great
gamble.
look.
Not allowed to.
In fact, I was in Bridgestone Arena that night.
Yeah.
And I just walking around with no shirt on at a hockey game.
Yeah.
It's just not a good look.
Decided just to stay there at the arena for a little while.
Well, I was working, but
Okay.
I was also. Remember that kick went through the uprights for Cincinnati right as I was going on the air. So my mood changed quickly.
Yeah.
All right, we'll take our final break. Come back, wrap up the first hour of the McFarland Show next.
Quick, convenient, efficient. 3 words that we all hope to experience when we do business. Our goal at JHA Company is to bring just that to an industry that's traditionally dictated to the customer when it's time to do business. Whether you're purchasing class pictures in a yearbook, class jewelry, a letter jacket, school spirit wear, or senior graduation products, we strive to make the experience quick, convenient, and efficient. Find out more at jhacompany.com. JHA, your one source for an unparalleled scholastic experience.
I've got a unique vacation idea for you that's right here in the United States. If you're ready for a vacation that's fun and downright affordable, listen up. It's driving distance for many of you, so no planes, no airline delays, no hassles. It's Branson, Missouri, the entertainment capital of the Midwest. Live music for everyone. Branson has 3 beautiful, enormous lakes, water attractions, live shows, great food, and tons of entertainment. It's a perfect vacation for you and your family, or if you're retired and you want to have a great time. And you can stay in Branson for as low as $99 a night. Please understand, this is not a timeshare offer. It's a real vacation for as little as $99 a night. We've got a free vacation guide we want to send you right now. All you have to do is call for complete details. Get your free Branson, Missouri guide right now by calling this number.
800-413-3953. 800-413-3953. 800-413-3953. That's 800-413-3953.
Bob's Steak and Chop House, located in the Omni Nashville Hotel, is a nationally renowned steakhouse specializing in the finest corn-fed Midwestern prime beef. The menu formula is simple: incredible meat, gigantic shrimp, fabulous salads, and decadent desserts. Start your experience at Bob's with the fried calamari or fresh scallops seared in Texas burnt honey. All the beef at Bob's Steak and Chop House are USDA prime cuts from the traditional filet array of tenderloin and ribeye to the adventurous Kansas City bone-in strip. They even have 2 different surf and turf options. And if you're looking for the other white meat, Bob's Steak and Chop House serves a dry-aged pork tomahawk with homemade applesauce. Fresh seafood is on the menu, from salmon to scampi, and even fresh lobster tail. For reservations, give them a call or log on to the Omni Nashville Hotel website. Bob's Steak and Chop House at the Omni Nashville Hotel.
Hey, Tennessee! We're Zen Sports, the new sportsbook in town. We listen to your feedback on our competitors, so we designed Zen Sports just the way you wished. Set favorites, search and sort bets, and earn real cash rewards, saving you time and money with every bet you make. Find the bets you want, not those distracting bets that seem too good to be true but rarely are. Best of all, withdraw your winnings in under 24 hours. So take control of your bets, because with Zen Sports, betting just got better. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-889-9789. Terms and conditions apply. Must be 21 and up and in Tennessee to bet.
This is the Greg Vogue and John Burton Show.
DeAndre Hopkins needed a team, and the Tennessee Titans desperately needed another quality wide receiver. I think this sends a message to the fan base, at least, saying, listen, all this talk about us rebuilding, retooling, no, that's baloney. We're out here to try to compete. You know, this helps their offense significantly. It's going to help them be a lot more competitive and maybe win a game or 2 more.
Greg Vogue and News Channel 5's John Burton, WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
You're listening live from the Strike and Spare Studios, downtown Music City. It's the McFarland Show.
We will begin the second hour with Mike Haas. He is the Saints play-by-play man, so he's going to join us here coming up shortly. We have a text that says, hey, Justin.
Hey.
What do you think about the Lions now? Signed intern Alec.
I think the Lions played a great game, intern Alec, and, deserved the W. Congratulations to you. And I'm sure that NFC North Division Championship, I'm sure you'll enjoy that a whole bunch after they were awarded that last night with that win against the Kansas City Chiefs there.
Nate from down in Muletown.
Oh, wait a minute. That's Columbia. Not how that works.
No,
is
why
it?
We,
okay.
I see what you did there.
Okay.
Nate wants to know we were talking about the Lions and the Chiefs in that first segment. He said the fourth down, the first quarter call on your own 20.
Yeah.
Pretty gutsy.
Yeah.
That was, I think, to your point of Dan Campbell was like, yeah, we're here to make a statement.
Yeah. No, we're here to win this game.
Yeah, we're not going
to let Patrick Mahomes come out here and roll us for 400 yards and, whatever.
I took it as this is not going to be an attaboy game. Like, oh, man, you guys were so close, man. Nice game, attaboy.
No, we here to win this thing. So good.
Like Robert Saleh in Hard Knocks, the last episode, I thought it was a great line to the whole team. He's like, the biggest insult me as a coach I can get is when you go up to the opposing coach or coaches and you're talking to them, they're like, man, you guys play hard. He's like,
yeah,
blank you, man.
Yeah.
I don't want you to say we play hard. We're here to beat you.
Yeah.
All right, let's go to it for the first hour.
560 AM, 95.9 FM, Brentwood, Nashville, 107.9 FM, Smyrna, Nashville's first 24-hour sports station. WNSR, Nashville Sports Radio.
ABC News, I'm Rena Roy. New details following the public release of a special grand jury report in the Georgia racketeering case. ABC's Stephen Portnoy has details.
Over more than 6 months last year, this special grand jury heard from 75 witnesses, ultimately recommending that more than 36 people should be charged with racketeering. Among them, Republican South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham and former Georgia Senators David Perdue and Kelly Loeffler. But DA Fonnie Willis did not pursue charges against them or 16 others named in the special grand jury's report. 19 people in the report have been charged.
Reports of a 5.0 magnitude earthquake in Northern California located southwest of Fall River Mills in Shasta County. Officials say no reports of damage or injuries. Commemorations in the UK marking 1 year since the death of Queen Elizabeth. King Charles and Queen Camilla took part in a church ceremony near the Royal Balmoral Castle where the Queen died 1 year ago. This is ABC News.
For the ones who work hard to ensure their crew can always go the extra mile, and the ones who get in early so everyone can go home on time, there's Grainger, offering professional-grade supplies backed by product experts so you can quickly and easily find what you need. Plus, you can count on access to a committed team ready to go the extra mile for you. Call, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2023 Bank of America, N.A.
Switch to Boost Mobile and get the ultra-smooth, ultra-powerful iPhone 11 for $49.99.
He didn't stutter.
See every angle with dual cameras.
Make it a double.
All on America's largest 5G networks.
Large and in charge, baby.
Get with the power of Boost and get the iPhone 11 for $49.99.
That's half a Benjamin.
Boost Mobile.
Unleash your power.
ID verification required. New customers only at one per line. Additional restrictions apply. See boostmobile.com for details.
Welcome back to Total Wine. What brings you in today?
Hey, Ruthie. I need help filling the ultimate beach cooler.
Well, we have the most hard seltzers and amazing canned cocktails anywhere, like High Noon, Cutwater, White Claw, Truly, Topo Chico, Jack Daniels and Coke, Neutral Vodka Seltzer, and Cayman Jack Zero Sugar Margarita in cans.
Wow. I'm going to be the king of the cooler.
And we have them at the lowest prices in town. With the lowest prices for over 30 years, you'll always find what you love and love what you find. Only at Total Wine & More. Drink responsibly, be 21.
Listen, you can't handle the truth. It's about to go off. Live from the WNSR Strike and Spare studios.
Just a bit outside.
Now back to the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
Show me the money!
Call or text now. We'd love to hear your thoughts. Call us or send us a text on the WNSR text line. 615-844-5600. 615-844-5600. Call or text. Same number.
Oh, righty there.
Now, the McFarland Show with Darren and Justin.
Second hour rolling along here on this Friday afternoon. Hope everybody's having a great day so far. Darren and Justin, we are the McFarlands. We're here in the Strike and Spare Family Fun Center studio. Don't forget, you can watch the show every day on Facebook, YouTube, Twitter, and Twitch. We had a great discussion with Michael Lombardi in the first hour. We'll keep that going and have a great discussion with the first opponent for the Titans on Sunday. It'll be down in New Orleans. He is their fine play-by-play voice. Mike Haas now joins us. Mike, how we doing?
I am doing well. Thank you very much. Looking forward to finally getting preseason behind us.
I was going to say, did last night get the juices flowing for week one?
Yeah, it was because we played Detroit in December, so I was kind of watching it, and then I was asking a friend of mine today, I go, now, Kansas City won the Super Bowl. I get it, but don't you have to explain 4th and 25 today? Like, isn't that just the most, with 3 timeouts and 2? I'm like, I'm just stunned. Like, 4th and 25. It's like the power of the Super Bowl speaks.
Andy Reid got asked that very question, Mike, and it was a little uncomfortable. He didn't really have an answer other than, I felt like it was the best thing to do. And I'm like,
the answer is,
okay.
I have Patrick Mahomes as quarterback. Next question.
Right.
Yeah, it was certainly interesting start to the season for sure. It's going to be this is an intriguing matchup. Obviously, we've been talking about this all week. So let's learn a little bit more about your New Orleans Saints. So one something we've kicked around is I don't think anybody expects him to return to the guy 4 years ago, which was just off the charts at his position, arguably the best receiver in the league. But everything I can tell from what reading and talking to people, it seems like folks down there are pretty optimistic about what they can get out of Michael Thomas this season. Obviously, you have to start with him just being available. What are your impressions of Michael Thomas as we sit here today?
Just that. If he's available, and I think are we ever going to see the 2019 Mike Thomas again? Probably not. I mean, not that, because he ain't going to have Drew Brees thrown to him.
Yeah.
And that's the other part of that equation. But he came out last year, and he had a solid training camp, catches 3 touchdowns in the first 2 games, and they're contested catches, which is what the Saints, as we would learn throughout the season, would have an issue with, contested balls. But then, it has the toe injury. But he was off to kind of a very solid start for him, catching balls early in games and TDs, and then the injury. And so he's back just like he was at last training camp, just like he was through the preseason. The question is, can he go through the regular season and be out there and be available? Because if he is, he's one of those chip on the shoulder guys, and you tell everybody telling him that he can't be this and can't do this, and which I think he can, and he doesn't. It's not all him now. You've got an Olave, you've got a Rashid Shaheed, you've got a very strong tight end group. Whereas, in 2020 and 2021, it was go get him, Mike. We need you. You're all we got. And the injuries happen, but I think he can definitely be back to close to that form. Just if he can be out there for the games, that's the question. But so far, so good.
This is year 25 in our market for NFL football, having a franchise. And Justin and I have been fortunate enough to be covering the NFL in this market the whole time. The Oilers/Titans have been here. We've seen a lot of football over the years. We talked about it, Mike. It was unprecedented. I don't ever remember 3 kickers getting traded in like a 24-hour window in the NFL, like ever. And it happened. And one of them came here in Nick Folk, and one of them left your city in Will Lutz in that kicking window of 3 kickers traded in 24 hours. I thought Will Lutz was a very solid kicker, but clearly I guess New Orleans thought that they could get something for him, and they obviously must feel good about what's behind him. Tell us about your new kicker.
Well, he struggled. First off, he's sat out 21, and so he was out and struggled a bit last year, not from 50 and out, but from 40 to 49. And that's where you make your money. And he just, the competition with Blake Groupie raised the bar for both of them. They were both on target. I mean, it was a very tough decision. And I was frankly surprised because to me, in that situation, tie goes to the veteran. And it didn't. And I find it hard to believe. Maybe money's a factor, but I can't believe that a 7th round pick is that kind of decision, because where you guys have been prior to Nick Folk, we've been. When we played you guys in 2021, we were the only NFL team to start 4 different quarterbacks and 4 different kickers.
Ooh,
so either you got a kicker or you don't. And you guys can empathize with that. I know that because when you got Folk, I read something like 10 different guys in 4 years.
Yeah, I think it's actually more than
Probably more than that, but yeah.
5 years under Mike Vrabel, it has been a kicking carousel. It's been hard to keep up. Let's just leave it at that.
Right. So we've been there. We went through that in 21 when he was out. So I was surprised. Not so much with the Headley, with the punter situation, but now you're going with 2 rookies. So, and it's fine, but guess what? You better be right. You better be right, because Will Lutz is a proven veteran. Blake Gillikin had a pretty strong 3 years, sitting back waiting for Thomas Morstead. So, yeah, but, when the Folk deal and the Lutz deal both kind of surprised me a little bit, just because, you just don't see it cut down day kickers being traded. Now, right before camp, you'll see guys get released and get picked up, but not traded.
Right.
That was a different ball game.
Yeah, and Dustin
Hopkins. That's how we got Will Lutz. We got Will Lutz in 2016 because Harbaugh in Baltimore was a friend of Sean's, and he goes, look, I don't know if you know, but we got Justin Tucker, and there ain't nobody ever beaten him out. So I got this kicker for you, Will Lutz. And that was the Monday, would have been this Monday, the Monday before the first week.
Oh, wow.
And then kicked on Tuesday. He's been the kicker ever since.
Wow. Good story there. So Will Lutz reunites with the former Saints coach,
right?
Sean Payton.
I mean, that's the new home base. If you get cut or if you get waived, or
you're going to Denver.
You're going to Denver. I mean,
we had that kind of arrangement worked out here as well.
Yeah, believe me.
With the Houston, New England stop,
Yeah, this has been a lot of Houston and New England here in Nashville.
And the folks who leave here end up in Atlanta.
Yeah, that's right, with Arthur Smith. So,
but We're used to it.
Yeah. How do you think this is going to play out? You know Sean Payton better than us. I mean, he came out this week with some pretty strong stuff about his quarterback that Denver gave the world for to get from Seattle in Russell Wilson. You know Sean Payton better than us. How do you think this is going to work out in Denver, in your opinion?
Well, it will be a magnificent success or a complete failure, and nothing in between. I mean, Sean's sending the message. That's Sean. He is a control guy. He is sending that message. It ain't business as usual, boys. There's a new sheriff in town, and we're going to do it my way. And there's no other way to do it. And it's hard to argue with his record, hard to argue with how he has handled quarterbacks. So I just felt like that's kind of it surprised me at the veracity and the latent, like that felt like a beginning of training camp kind of thing, not where we are. But I still think he believes in Russell, but I think he wants Russell in the building, on the page, working as hard as everybody else. And so I just think it was a message to everybody that there's a new sheriff in town, boys. If you hadn't realized it yet, we're doing it my way.
Mike, before I get started with football questions, I just have to say work for the Fox affiliate here in Nashville. I've spent 17 years in local television, and talking to someone who has spent nearly 28, 30 years in local TV, much respect to you, sir. Anybody who gets to a certain landmark deserves just a tip of the hat. Like, man, you did that, okay? 28 years at one TV station is a long time.
Right.
You survived.
That's what it is.
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
survival, baby.
All right.
There's no gold watches anymore in local TV.
No, not
Give me
anymore,
your
sir.
best 8 years, and see you later down the road.
All right. Let's move on to the football. I just wanted to stick that in there very quickly.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right. Derek Carr is what we haven't talked about there as far as what you're expecting to see from him, or what the fan base is expecting to see from him. Are they expecting him to come in and look like Drew Brees? Are they expecting him to just bring some, solidify the position? Like, what's the expectation there?
Well, no one expects Drew Brees. We've had enough separation, fortunately, but they need a game manager. We went through this quarterback battle between Jameis Winston and Taysom Hill, won by Jameis, and he gets hurt in 21. Then we go through 22. Is Jameis going to be ready? Starts, gets hurt. Andy Dalton. So it has just been nothing as drawn up. So for Derek, just be a game manager. You don't have. We're not asking you to throw it 35 times. We feel like there's a decent running game. You've got great receivers. You've got a strong tight end group. You've got a great defense. You don't have to go out and score 28 points a game. Just be a game manager, because that's what this team has lacked. They haven't really gotten any turnovers, and they turn the ball over a lot. So those that combination does not go well, and they're not going to have a really strong running back room to begin the year with, as we thought, with Kendre Miller maybe out, Alvin out. And so it's going to be a little bit more on Derek Carr and the receivers and his tight ends to really move this offense. But he fits this Pete Carmichael scheme better than any of the other quarterbacks we talked about, because he does have what Drew had, which is the ability to have three, and you got this, when he was in Oakland, to have 3 or 4 plays in your head and pull out of the bad ones, right? Everybody can pull out the plays, but he's able to pull out of the bad ones. And in this Pete Carmichael offense, it's not like a nicety, that's a necessity. And, I always hate to say it, because I don't think it's fair to ever draw a comparison to Drew Brees, but they do have those similar characteristics, and he actually enjoys it, likes it. So we'll see. I mean, if you wrote a book and said, how do you start a second career with a new franchise, it would be what he's done since March. Everything right, says it right, does it right, team first, here, OTAs, minicamp. I mean, I'm like, I even told Coach Allen today, I go, I'm tired of talking about it. I'm just tired of talking about it. Like, how good is it? Let's just play. Good gosh.
Yeah. You mentioned Alvin. You mean Alvin Kamara there, who is going to be out of this football game. So who's going to be in? Who's going to get the touches that he obviously is not going to get?
Jamal Williams will be the guy, the featured back, Kendre Miller has had a very strong, the rookie out of TCU, strong camp, has been dealing with a hamstring and has been limited all week. Now, he was not ruled out today, but did have 2 players ruled out. He's questionable, but I would be surprised. So then it drops off to Kirk Merritt, who's had very little time. They signed Tony Jones from, guess where, Denver, because he knows the system, right? It's going to be a farm system, Denver and the New Orleans farm system. So, like, they're talking about that maybe Tony Jones might be one of the practice squad call-ups on Saturday. I don't know. To me, you have Jamal, Kirk Merritt, Adam Prentice. You know, they may just go with that. It's hard to say. But Jamal Williams, who we've seen very little of in preseason, is going to be the guy. And it's coming off of his best year ever. So, 17 touchdowns, 1,000-yard plus. He's not Derrick Henry, of course, but for this team right now, he's solid.
Well, few people are Derrick Henry in this day and age of football. So, we can spend, hours talking about that, but we won't. So let's move on to the fact that I was watching New Orleans Saints preseason football a little bit, just trying to brush up, and I saw this familiar figure from my past who caught a touchdown pass and then ran over to the goalpost. And I said to myself,
and you said, there's no way.
Is that Jimmy Graham?
He can't still be in football.
I didn't know Jimmy Graham was still playing football. What? Talk to me about that. How did that I missed it. I totally missed it, Mike. I had no idea.
Well, he sat out 22. He was in a terrible bike incident. He sat out 22. And they had made contact with the Saints. And so this will tell you all you need to know about the Jimmy Graham situation. He flew himself in for the tryout. During right before camp. And so he spent 20 and 21 with Chicago, but kind of in and out, nothing spectacular. But so when he came, we were all kind of, well, what are we going to do? We certainly aren't going to see the Jimmy Graham of 2014, but man, he's in shape, looks good, runs, a nice seam route. Since Drew left, we haven't used the term seam route or back shoulder throw since 2020. And when Jimmy Graham came in one drive in the 3rd preseason game, caught a nice seam route, next play, back shoulder touchdown. We're like, whoa, this could be fun. So, yeah, but, he's and because of Foster Moreau, who played with Derek in Las Vegas, and Juwan Johnson, who's really is a converted wide receiver, but I'm asking Jimmy Graham to come in and be the guy he was in 2010, which, by the way, is his numbers back then. He played here for 5 years. He had 51 touchdowns.
Yeah.
12.3 yards per reception from a tight end standpoint. So, we're not asking him to do that, but he is somebody kind of like Taysom Hill. Not as much, because when Taysom's in the game, defenses need to know where 7 is. Where is 7? Where and Jimmy's not that, but he will draw attention, but not as much as Taysom.
Mike, last question for me, and I wish I probably should have asked this first, but here goes anyway. How has the New Orleans Saints fan base changed since the Super Bowl win? Because we're still waiting on our first one here as a market. So I'm curious, as someone who's been down there the whole time, the New Orleans Saints fan base before the Super Bowl and what has happened after the Super Bowl, or is there any difference at all?
Well, you got to remember, so in 2006, so that's a year after Katrina. So, we're barely a city at that point when we're hanging by our fingernails. And Sean Payton and Drew Brees come in and go to the NFC Championship game. In my mind, as big as the Super Bowl in 2009. That's how important 2006 was to this fan base. So then they just win. And we become so spoiled. 16 wins, 13 wins, 14-2, 13-3. But that window, 2017, 2018, 2019, 2020, there should be Super Bowl II, perhaps Super Bowl III in there. And that didn't happen. And so it kind of had to hit, so the fan base kind of had to hit the reset button, because those years, they were so dominant and, couldn't get over the hump of the NFC Championship game against the Rams, or the no-call game.
I was going to say, no, they couldn't get over the hump. Good. No, Mike, they missed the call, Mike. You can say they missed the call.
In the other years. They were just so good. And, laid an egg against Tampa in the division, lost to Minnesota at home. But those – and so after that, it was kind of like the team wasn't in a rebuilding mode, but the fan base had to go, hold on, reset. Sean's gone, so Drew leaves, so we have a new era. Sean leaves, new era. Derek Carr here, new era. Dennis Allen, new era. Like, we're aired out. So I think they're ready for just some. How about we just win some games?
It's going to be a fascinating one. It's probably going to be low scoring. I'm interested to see the DeAndre Hopkins versus Lattimore matchup. We'll see how it all plays out, Mike. We really appreciate the visit. Enjoy the game, and we'll talk to you down the road.
You got it. You guys have a great season and enjoyed it. Thanks, fellas.
You do the same. Sir. Mike Haas, he is the Saints play-by-play man, and, of course, New Orleans hosting the Titans down there on Sunday afternoon. We're wide open the rest of the way. If you want to get involved in the show, 615-844-5600 is the phone line and the text line. More of the McFarland Show next.
And now, Gutter Cleaning Painting Guy is reminding Americans to show support to the brave men and women who serve our U.S. military. Visit DAV.org and consider donating to the disabled veterans who need our help. This message is brought to you by Gutter Cleaning Painting Guy, backed by 20 years of experience. For residential or commercial painting or gutters, give the pros a call today at 615-521-4503. That's 615-521-4503. Gutter Cleaning Painting Guy. They're professionals who care.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-898-6155 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-898-6155. That's 800-898-6155. What do you have to lose? Call 800-898-6155. Again, 800-898-6155.
Today on Hey Culligan, how smart is your water? Here's Tracy.
Hey Culligan, I think my water might be dumb.
Good news, Tracy. Your water's not dumb, it's just not talking to you.
You can make my water talk.
No, but the new Culligan Smart Drinking Water System can talk to your phone to tell you when your water filters need changing and help you meet drinking water goals.
Now that's some brilliant H2O.
You said it, Tracy, and we're already on the way. Let us help you out with a free in-home water test with the local Culligan water expert at Culligan.com.
Here at Total Wine & More, you'll find what you love and love what you find. I like this flavored gin, but want something new? You'll love this one. Wow! Oh, you're good. Find what you love what you find, only at Total Wine & More. Pickup and delivery available at TotalWine.com. Drink responsibly, B21.
This is something I wish I'd known. Many people who live in Tennessee are eligible for help paying for healthy food for pregnant and new moms, their babies, and young children, but don't realize it. Family income can be higher than you think. There's a website called TennesseeMeals.com for more information. Assistance for healthy food for expectant moms and young children. This information I need to share. TennesseeMeals.com.
Brought to you by the Tennessee Justice Center, the Tennessee Association of Broadcasters.
The TSU Tigers football season is underway, and it's time to show your Big Blue pride at home games this season. Coach Eddie George enters his third season looking for a championship in the all-new Big South OVC football alignment with 5 home games at Nissan Stadium. The first is the 25th annual John Merritt Classic, September 16th, when the Tigers host new league rival Gardner-Webb. And there's nothing like homecoming versus Norfolk State on October 14th, and 3 more home games after that. For more information and to purchase tickets, visit TSUTigers.com. And as always, go Big Blue.
The McFarland Show. Video streaming live on Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube from the Strike and Spare studio.
Special thanks to Mike Haas for joining us, Saints play-by-play man. We learned a little bit more about New Orleans. Titans and Saints, Sunday at noon. Don't forget TSU. They got the Southern Heritage Classic, the 34th annual, at Liberty Bowl. TSU, Arkansas Pine Bluff. Pre-game coverage will begin at 5:30 tomorrow, 5:30 p.m. here on these airwaves. Kickoff at 6 o'clock. It'll be Greg Pogue and Chris Sanders.
Yeah, this is the game that they used to play against Jackson State every year for the last, decades or so. Until Jackson State decided to take their services elsewhere. So, brand new chapter for the Southern Heritage Classic over there in Memphis.
Is there any games, college games tonight, or no?
Well, I'm sure somebody's playing somewhere.
Indiana State and Indiana, in Bloomington. Illinois at Kansas. Those are the two games tonight.
Okay.
Indiana State at Indiana. That's going to be on Big Ten Network. That's at 6 o'clock. And then Illinois at Kansas. Illinois escaping last week by the hair on their chinny chin.
Mm-hmm.
They should have lost to Toledo, but they won. Brett Bielema is the coach for the Fighting Illini.
He is.
And Illinois is at Kansas at 6:30 tonight on ESPN2. So the Jayhawks are 1-0.
Yeah, good for the Jayhawks. Bill King was on our show a little while ago talking about their head coach possibly being a front runner for much better jobs here if he can put together another successful season for Kansas. So big game for him. Looks like Kansas is favored in that ball game by 3.5. Kansas by 3.5 tonight in Lawrence as they host the Illini in this football game. So that is interesting.
Lance Leopold is in his third year. So, of course, he was at Buffalo. By the way, they've done this before. Remember Turner Gill didn't work out well. Last year they went 6-7. The first year 2-10. Kansas is a very, very difficult job.
Yeah.
It is a basketball school.
It is.
And they have hired a lot of big names.
And they're in a tough neighborhood.
They have hired Les Miles.
Yes, they did.
They have hired, I'm drawing
from
Patriots OC, Notre Dame coach.
I'm drawing it.
Charlie Weiss.
Charlie
Weiss has been the Kansas head coach.
Yes.
Turner Gill, as we talked about. I'm leaving out others. They've hired names. It's just hard. It's hard sledding.
It's a basketball school in a neighborhood that already has other football teams that take most of the talent. One of them right there in state with Kansas State, which has a fairly strong football tradition of their own there.
Well, they did.
Yeah, I mean
for a long time.
I imagine for
Bill
football,
Snyder.
Bill Snyder. I imagine for football, they are the legacy school for football in that area. And by the way, if you don't want to play for Kansas State, you probably cross the state line and go play for Nebraska.
Yeah.
Or
you got Oklahoma. I mean, there's just a lot of stuff around
or Iowa
there.
State. It's a tough neighborhood.
Yeah, and my guess is probably the talent pool isn't great there.
Not real deep, no.
Right. You got to go pluck them from somewhere else.
Yeah.
So it's just a hard job.
Yeah.
So we'll see. I mean, Lance Leopold, he is truly, and I've always said it, and look, everybody's different, but to me, you strike while the iron's hot.
Yeah.
And if his iron is hot there at Kansas, he needs to strike if somebody else wants him.
Oh, yeah.
Because I'm just telling you, that's just not somewhere you want to be 15 years because you won't make it.
Chances
won't make it.
Chances are you won't.
Let's go to the phone lines. 615-844-5600. Doug is standing by.
Good afternoon, man.
How you doing?
Just want to tell everybody that they should, speak to you with royalty and with respect for that Detroit bone that you threw them yesterday.
I mean, it was a gift. It was free, and it's just something that we value the listeners, and so that was just us. That was our way of paying you back for listening.
But you also did it on the way out, so nobody could have a follow-up comment. So that was pretty smooth on your behalf.
It was.
I'm going to say this.
I'm a seasoned veteran, Doug.
Yes,
seasoned veteran.
Is a seasoned veteran, without a doubt. And you remember yesterday I talked about, the quarterback talk that Chris Sanders from the Ohio State University said that, yes, Tannehill can take him to the Super Bowl. And a lot of people just look But there's also the discussion that I want to ask you guys today. You know, Coach Vrabel or whoever hasn't announced who the backup quarterback is. I looked at Nick Suss from the Tennesseans, and it still hadn't been announced. And they said it will be 90 minutes prior to the game. So I say this. You're doing all this for the backup quarterback. 2 years ago you drafted. Looked like it didn't work. This year you drafted. Looked like it didn't work. In the meantime, Ryan's just standing there. Dum-da-dum-da-dum-dum. Yeah, it's me. Once again, I'm the dude, but you don't even have a backup dude. What does that say to your two quarterbacks? We're sitting there waiting for the decision to be made of who is the number two guy.
Well, let me just say this, Doug, because I kind of know, and Justin does too, how this works. And you too.
Ray Charles can see who it is, but I mean.
No. They when you say they don't know, they know.
They know.
Yeah, they know.
Mike just doesn't want to. He's just doing his thing with the media. And he's like, I ain't going to give you what you want. Like, I'll give it to you when I want to give it to you. That's just Mike Vrabel.
Tony in Nolensville
Mike
says,
Vrabel things.
He'll give you a fork to eat soup. Is the way Mike Vrabel operates sometimes with the media.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's just we should have a segment
and I get that
called
part,
Mike
but
Vrabel
sometimes
things.
It's disrespectful to the media, to the fans that we all know who the number two guy is. Are you jerking their chain? Or just does it say that we can't fully admit we haven't really got a number two?
Well, I will say this,
and they don't have a number two that they're solid with. It's pretty obvious. They're not solid with it, but it is what it is.
I think they're solid with it for this week.
Yeah, I don't. Will we have to broach that subject at some point this season? Maybe. I mean,
QB reps are done. I mean, QB reps of trying to get the position are done. You're Ryan Tannehill.
Well, remember, somebody was playing Derek Carr this week, so they know who the backup is. It's just,
without a doubt.
They're just not willing. Mike's just like,
Mike's just being Coach Vrabel. This is not unusual for him. This is what he does. I mean,
and I'm used to that. That I appreciate that Bill Belichick style. You don't know until I tell you. But
yeah,
for simple things, I just kind of want to, yes, we know who it is. Say it, be done with it. Next question.
Let me ask you guys both. Let me ask both of you this question: Who's the better quarterback, Ryan Tannehill, Derek Carr?
I say Ryan Tannehill.
Okay, since you jumped out there first, Doug, why?
Because he did what he did with a sloppy offensive line. And he gave all he had. He did the best he could with what he had. And side note, that offensive line ain't a lot better this year.
I would say Derek Carr for this reason. Derek Carr didn't have a Derrick Henry. Derek Carr, the team ran through him. This team still does not run through Ryan Tannehill. Is it better with Ryan Tannehill? It is better with Ryan Tannehill, no question about it. The teams and the offense is built through Derrick Henry, though. The Raiders were built through Derek Carr, and their success and failure was all built on whatever it is that he did. And so I think there was much more pressure, much more responsibility, much more given to him to do as far as carrying the team on Derek Carr than Ryan Tannehill has ever seen. They don't ask Ryan Tannehill to throw the ball 40 times a game. I feel like at times they've asked Derek Carr to do that for them. And I think that's the difference between the two.
Mike Haas, did he not say Derek Carr was a system quarterback? Did he throw that word out there?
He threw out game manager.
Or game manager, that's right. Game manager, which the Titans don't label Tannehill that, but they're both game managers, right?
Yes, I'm just saying,
really,
at a certain point, they were asking Derek Carr not to be a game manager. They were asking him to be a franchise quarterback.
Correct.
To come out here and go for 4,500 yards and 40 touchdowns. This is what they were asking him to do. The Titans have never asked Ryan Tannehill to do that, and I don't even think the Dolphins ever asked Ryan Tannehill to do that.
I'm taking.
Yeah, but it's interesting.
But again, it's going to be something to watch when you finally have to announce, and nobody's surprised. But I just think that Ryan Tannehill is not that bad of a quarterback, and for the people that look and say you need to look elsewhere, the dude's standing right there for the most part. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Doug.
Thank you.
It's a fascinating thing because there's a lot of people in this market that believe like there's just no chance Ryan Tannehill comes back. And I'm not so sure I'm buying into that.
No.
I don't buy that at all. But there's people like with conviction, on the radio or just on social media saying, this is it. And I'm like, well, I mean, it could be, sure. But is it definitively it?
I would say
no.
I would say it's probable.
It's look, Magic 8 Ball.
Yeah.
Outlook pretty good.
It's probable.
But it's not like done.
But impossible? Oh, not at all.
No, it's not done.
No.
Now, I don't know how many, Ryan Tannehill would probably have to come back. He's not coming back for more money. Like they're not going to give him more money.
Probably not.
Right? So it's going to have to be something that suits the Titans, and it's got to suit him. What is it going to take? I mean, if they win the AFC South, dare I say it, if they win a playoff game, you're not bringing back Ryan Tannehill? You're going to be like, thanks? Now we're going to turn it over to the unknown? I don't think so. Look, here's the thing. The biggest misnomer out there is that the NFL is, you rebuild. You don't rebuild in the NFL. You may look like you're rebuilding. That's just because you're not good at your job. Your front office and your scouting staff aren't good at your job because you don't really rebuild in the NFL. The fascinating thing about the National Football League for this country is the fact that for the most part, everybody really feels like they have a chance going into a season because we've seen it time after time. Like, it is really hard to predict. That's why the NFL Survivor Pool, which I do, is a really popular thing that I don't know. A lot of people don't really talk about it a lot, but I think it's gained a lot of popularity over the years because you would think picking a team once a week with no point spread just to win a game would be the easiest contest in the world, right? Like, gosh, how hard would it be to get through that season? Usually you've gone to about week 9 and you're starting a new one. Because everybody's out. You have a winner already. That just tells you how hard it is in the NFL to predict because you don't really rebuild. You go through down times, and some franchises go through down times for a long time. But nobody's really, you don't really be like, okay, we're just going to clear the deck because, by the way, all these people want to keep their jobs, so they're not like interested in that. Mike Vrabel isn't interested in clearing the deck. They want to stay. They feel like in the NFL you're going to have turnover. Okay, you're going to have turnover in the NFL, and then sometimes that turnover it could be just a year, and you should feel like, hey, we can get this thing back on track that quickly. We've seen it before.
Sure. I mean, you can reload pretty fast in the NFL. And then get out there and do what you need to do. I think the issue with Ryan Tannehill especially is not that he's not that bad of a quarterback, because you're right, he's not that bad of a quarterback. The issue is he that good? And that's the problem. So the problem is you're paying him $35 or whatever it is $1 million a year. And the question is, for what? It's so really you don't lose games. Not for him necessarily to win games. You're really paying it so you didn't lose games.
All right, we'll come back, and we'll take more phone calls. We're wide open until 4 o'clock, 615-844-5600. We'll take a break. More of the McFarland Show next.
Do you hear that? Asthma triggers are everywhere, from dust mites, pet dander, and pollen, to smog and smoke. An asthma attack can strike anywhere, anytime. Be prepared with quick-acting Primatene Mist. Clinically proven to open airways quickly. It's the #1 FDA-approved asthma inhaler available over the counter. Primatene Mist. Breathe easy again. Use as directed.
Sponsored by Armstrong Pharmaceutical. Have you ever met a single person in your life that enjoys paying taxes? No, no one does. If you can't sleep at night because you have a huge problem with the IRS, I've got some free advice for you. This service is strictly limited to individuals that owe the IRS $10,000 or more in back taxes. And if you qualify, we can guarantee that you won't be writing a big fat check to the IRS, or our services cost you nothing. The first 100 people that call today will get a free tax consultation worth $500. Stop worrying about your IRS problem. We can help you, we promise. Call the tax doctor right now. I mean right now, to learn more.
800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. 800-649-0142. That's 800-649-0142.
Bar Lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel downtown is at the heart of Music City. Located within walking distance of the Country Music Hall of Fame, Bar Lines at the Omni is your downtown honky-tonk destination. Watch your team from any seat on their plentiful HD TVs and catch a live show on the Bar Lines stage featuring live music 7 days a week. Bar Lines has the ultimate Southern comfort food. Get started with classic fried green tomatoes or bourbon barbecue wings. Then it's on to the massive Smashville double stack or the world famous Bar Lines grinder. Oh, you've never heard of the Bar Lines grinder? 2 kinds of cheese, lettuce, Dijon, smoked turkey, smoked bacon, smoked ham. Now that's some smoke you want. Local brews and local spirits are on tap at Bar Lines. Take a seat on the patio outside and soak up the rhythm of Music City. Bar Lines at the Omni Nashville Hotel, 5th Avenue, downtown. And now Hunter D Property Solutions is reminding Americans to show support to the brave men and women who serve our U.S. military. Visit DAV.org and consider donating to the disabled U.S. veterans who need our help. This message is brought to you by Hunter D Property Solutions, family owned for over 3 years. For residential remodeling, painting, and landscaping, or for buying homes from distressed owners going into foreclosure, give the pros a call today at 931-624-4077. Hunter D Property Solutions. They're professionals who care.
It's a Bill King Show.
We are college football centric. That is the sun that warms our planet that we live on. Our planet actually isn't flat or round. It's an oblong spheroid. And we are here to proselytize about it, edify it every day on this here radio show.
Weekday mornings beginning at 6 on Sports Radio 560 on 95.9 FM.
Text the Strike and Spare studio now at 615-844-5600. You're listening to The McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
High school football tonight here on these airwaves. 6:45. East Nashville at Maplewood. Joe Fisher, Jonathan Schaefer. So check out the high school coverage tonight here on these airwaves. East Nashville at Maplewood, 6:45. Back to the phones, 615-844-5600. Let's bring in Tony. Tony, what's up?
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Good afternoon.
TGIF.
Yes, sir.
Football weekend, everything. Let me get this out of the way. Justin.
Yes, sir.
I believe we're snake bit, literally.
No. Come on now, Tony. Come on now. We left that all behind in 2016,
I tell you
man.
what, that was a tough one today.
Well, it's the Diamondbacks. It's okay.
We need to bounce back, get these two on the weekend to break even ground. But,
are you going to bring up Bartman and a black cat? Like, where are you going with that?
I'm not.
Okay.
Because all that's, I'm not bringing up any of that. No.
Okay.
That's good stuff. Guys, let me tell you what I did today. I rode over to Nolensville High School, Darren, and I looked at their stadium, the construction of their bleachers.
You examined it thoroughly, and what'd you find? Cracks?
No, seems to be that they're built extremely well, and everything is with metal beams and steel, except the base, the very base of where it's going into. And I think, Justin, if y'all continue following up on that story, it might be a good place y'all might want to come and look, because Nolensville, how old's Nolensville, Darren? Maybe 10 years old now, maybe 9.
I'm not sure how old it is.
It's not old. And I've been out here since it opened, though. I think around 9 or 10 years right now. But I think that's something that, I think that these schools might be looking at. I know at Sumner County, there's all of them, I think, are definitely don't want to go the concrete route. So, but I did do that today, and I was just curious, and I rode over to see they play Glencliff tonight. And, guys, something that hadn't been talked about much, there was an article in the Tennessean, I can't remember Gentry Estes or is it Tom Krieger? Is that right?
Tom Krieger.
Or somebody wrote about it. All 13 Metro head coaches are African American this year. First time ever in the history of the old NIL or the current Metro system. All 13 of them, and they did a great story on them about they felt of their calling and mentoring men, and in a lot of cases being a father figure to a lot of men and to the young men that I'm talking about. And it's really a tremendous article. I wish I had the exact correct, writer of it, but I did not know that. They wrote about it, I think, last week. So that is rather interesting. You hadn't seen much of that. So I just think that's a unique situation, and hopefully, it won't be just a fad thing or a trend thing. But I think a lot of your Metro schools have looked at this, and I think that's proof positive that good things can happen of this nature. But you hadn't heard nobody talk much about that. But I did. I just wanted to touch on that. But the Cubbies, Justin.
Yes, sir.
We've got to bounce back, and because we play these Diamondbacks again next week, so it's a tough stretch. And so I didn't know. Darren, let me ask you: are your Guardians, or what's their situation? Are they in the hunt?
They're roadkill.
Are they roadkill? Yeah. I have not looked at all the stats completely.
There's a big group of buzzards on the side of the road, and there's a Guardian land.
I got a picture today from a friend of mine down in Alabama that showed a armadillo laying over on the road. Done been hit, but it was holding a bottle of water. Down in Alabama, it's so hot down there. They were saying it was pretty good.
So you're going to be busy tomorrow? You're going to be busy tomorrow in Knoxville?
Me, I will not be busy, Darren. I've got to go to my grandson's first soccer games ever.
Oh,
well, congratulations to that. But there may be a lot of punting going on tomorrow for Austin Peay State. And so
there could be a lot of punting. Let's hope not. And by the way, I did find there is a punter that punts for Tullahoma. Guys, last week he punted 5 times for 52.5 yard average at Tullahoma.
Well,
it'll be an interesting story on that young man.
There'll be some schools after him.
There'll be some schools after him. But no, I will be watching some soccer games, and I will be probably listening to a little bit of it. But you know what? Might shock the world. Go Cubs! Let's go Pig.
All right, Tony. Enjoy the soccer games. Have a great weekend.
Y'all have a great, safe weekend, guys.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Talk to you.
Thank you.
Well, I think I should give out maybe another gift or two, or at least we can talk about some games.
Yes.
Let's talk about some games on the way out.
Okay.
Okay, because there's some big games tomorrow.
There are.
Big games. All right, we'll do that to close out the week, close out the Friday edition of the McFarland Show. We'll do that next.
Are you ready for a touchdown of flavor and excitement? Look no further than Sam's Place and Sam's Sports Grill, the ultimate destination for great food, fantastic drinks, and game time atmosphere that will have you cheering for more. Sam's is the place for every sports fan and food lover with over 40 TVs at every location. Sam's has a family-friendly atmosphere where everyone can have a blast. From their friendly staff to awesome kids menu, they've got something for everyone. Online at samsplace.net or samsportsgrill.com, or call and find the nearest location to you. At Sam's, the game is always on and the fun never stops.
Post-COVID travel is on a surge. Many of you are traveling for fun because you've been locked up for 2 years. Listen, whether you're traveling for fun to Italy, Greece, Spain, France, or somewhere else fun in the world, or USA, now is a great time to book before the crowds hit and save. Plus, with a strong U.S. dollar, you'll get more travel bang for your buck. Right now is a smart time to make your reservations and call low-cost airlines. With one phone call, you can let us do all the work for free. We'll shop hundreds of airlines, hotels, resorts, and give you a way to save huge money on your vacation plans. And if you call right now, we'll give you a free hotel room with a qualified travel purchase. So call right now.
800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. 800-704-1662. That's 800-704-1662.
Just because you can't see it or smell it, radon gas is everywhere. Caused by natural radioactive decay, it is the leading cause of lung cancer in women, children, and non-smoking men. And with Davidson County homes testing higher than the national average, now is the time for radon testing. Radon Mitigation is Nashville's licensed and NRPP certified radon mitigation company who can test your home, install systems, and maintain continuous meters for daily readouts on their simple-to-use app.
Or you can test at home yourself by picking up one of the free DIY at-home test kits.
Let Alex and his team at Radon Mitigation make your home a clean air home. Give them a call today at 931-47-RADON. That's 931-477-2366. Or online at ChooseRadont.com. That's ChooseRadont.com.
Hey, I'm Alex with Radon Mitigation, proud sponsor of the Atlanta Braves on WNSR.
When might you be buzzed? When you suddenly love everything.
You guys, I love this song. I love these nachos. I love our kickball league. Ugh! I love this guy. What's your name? You know what I'd love? A ride when it's time to head out.
If you see a buzzed warning sign, call for a ride when it's time to go home. Buzz driving is drunk driving. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
I love your car. Is this real leather?
It's the McFarland Show with Darren McFarland and Fox 17's Justin McFarland.
DeAndre Hopkins.
2-year deal worth $26 million with incentives to make more. Right? Yeah. I think it's like he can get up to $32 million. I have no problems going out on this limb. If he's hitting those marks, this team is winning the AFC South.
Yeah.
Period.
Oh, yeah.
That one I'm betting. Yeah. I'm locking in.
Yeah.
The McFarland Show with Darren and Justin on Nashville Sports Radio WNSR.
Titans fans, Preds fans, we have you covered. The McFarland Show.
$11 o'clock kickoff on FOX.
Yes, sir.
That's Fox.
Yes, sir.
In case you can't spell.
WZTV, Nashville.
Nebraska at Colorado.
Mm-hmm.
The Buffs are a 2.5-point favorite. I threw it out there earlier. I saw this on Twitter this morning from a handicapper or like Dave Mason or something like that.
Okay.
And the Kansas City-Detroit game last night, no big surprise, was the most bet game so far this football season.
Okay.
Duh. Kicked off the NFL season. The second most bet game right now, as of right now, is the Colorado and Nebraska game. Now, just think about that.
Mm-hmm.
The Colorado-Nebraska game has more money on it than the rest of the than all the other NFL games.
Yes.
In week 1.
Okay.
Which is amazing because the NFL has so much money bet on it.
Oh, yeah.
So much money bet on it. From what I can tell in looking at different sites, The public is heavy on Colorado.
What?
The Sharps are heavy on Nebraska.
Why in the world would the public be so heavy on Colorado? It's not like Deion Sanders has been visible or oh, wait a minute. I guess
who would you trust if you were betting? The public or the Sharps?
I mean, I don't listen.
Justin,
I stay out of this.
Who built Vegas?
The Sharps.
No, the Sharps did not build Vegas.
They built Vegas because they were the ones.
Those casinos are big because of the public.
Well,
the public.
They're big because the public has been betting money unwisely. That's why.
That's my point.
That's why. If you want to go at it, and that's why I'm arguing. No, the Sharps really built.
Well, no.
Las Vegas.
The Sharps beat Vegas. The public does not beat Vegas. That's why Vegas has those casinos. The public is betting Colorado. I got to be honest. I don't understand this line. Like, it just
the 2-point line, the 2.5 line.
Yeah, it smells.
Yeah.
Right? Because you would think you knew that Colorado would be overinflated. Now, I think it started off literally like Sunday morning at like 1.
Yeah.
And it's gone up. I think it went up as high as 3.5, and it's come back down to 2.5. But why is it so low? It's in Boulder. Why? Nebraska lost to Minnesota in week 1.
I think it's low because we have low information. We don't know anything about these teams. We don't know if last week was a one-off or if this is who they really are. And you know, like I do, that college football teams can change whole identities very, very quickly. So we don't know who Nebraska is. We don't know who Colorado is. We'll get a better idea tomorrow afternoon or tomorrow morning into the afternoon. But we don't really know what these guys are.
Colorado was on national TV last week against TCU. They had a lot of people watching.
So what's
Well, I'm just saying you're painting the picture like nobody knows, like nobody watched their games last week. That's not true.
You think by watching the game you understand who they are by watching that?
Well, the public, that's why they bet. That's why the public.
Well, that's on them. If you want to put your money on what you saw last week down there in Fort Worth, then you go for it.
I know, because that doesn't go on. That's what the public does.
Oh, I know. Listen, there's a reason why I'm not into this thing, okay? Because I've seen too many examples here, so I can't judge anything, honestly. And you bet and you do that. I do not. But if I was going to put money on something, I wouldn't do so until like after week 4 or 5. I need a body of work to be able to judge off of. I got nothing. TCU or we don't know how good. How do we know if TCU was any good or not? TCU could be 4-10 this year. We have no idea. We don't know what TCU is. We don't know who Nebraska is. We don't know what Minnesota is. The body of work will show itself over time. It takes time, but I wouldn't put a dime on anything myself until after week 4 or 5. And that goes for college and pros. You don't know what this is.
The big one is tomorrow night at 6 o'clock. Alabama hosting Texas.
Yeah.
That's the big one. Alabama's a touchdown favorite, which is a little surprising to me.
Yeah. You think the pressure is on Alabama to go out here and win this game.
Well, it is, but I mean, like Alabama doesn't ever lose at home, ever, like under Nick Saban. Like
not really.
What is it? Johnny Manziel and LSU, I think, are like his 2 home losses. I mean,
you're right.
It may be a couple more.
I think Cam Newton got him 1 year too, but
it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like 60-4 or something silly.
Oh yeah.
Or whatever. So enjoy the weekend. I think the Titans get it done in New Orleans. I do. I think they beat the Saints. I really do.
I can go with that as well. That's my prediction.
But we'll have lots to talk about on Monday. Have a great weekend. We'll talk to you Monday. We'll see you then.